Hey, what's up, guys? So, we want to continue our training on overcoming objections. And we started this at our summit, and we're going to keep pushing this all the way through the month of July. But this is really just good all around training for everything that you do, not only in your business, but in your life in general. When you're able to overcome an objection, no matter what that objection is, you're able to ask for the sale, and more importantly, get the sale every single time. So, what we want to start off by looking at right now is the 7 steps for overcoming any objection. Now, if you remember, we talked about these at the summit, but we didn't have a handout for it. So, I want to take you through this handout really quickly so that you can make sure that you took the notes down correctly and that you understand what those objections are. So, obviously, number one, know your goal. Number two, don't react, but listen. Number three, acknowledge the objection. Number four, comprehend the objection. Five, offer an alternate solution. Six, paint a vivid future narrative. And seven, ask to close the sale again. And it's funny because number seven is the one that most salespeople they leave off and they forget about whenever they're going through an objection process. So today, we're actually going to be looking at the steps that occur right here between number 4 and number 5, comprehending the objection and offering an alternate solution. And the reason that we want to talk about this is because timing is everything. Knowing when to propose that alternate solution is the absolute most important part to overcoming this objection. To overcoming any objection, your timing has to be right. You see, too often, people are really, really worried, and this is the sheet for today. So if you want to follow along, I encourage you to get this sheet and follow along. But timing is everything. Too often, people are really, really worried, really concerned with the actual content of what they're going to say. What am I going to say to overcome that objection? What can I counterstrike with in order to overcome the objection? And if that's what you think overcoming an objection is, that's why you're not doing a good job at overcoming objections, because it's not so much exactly what you say. A lot of times, a really bad alternate proposal can still land you the sale because it's not what you say. It's the timing of when you say it. And if you use the wrong timing, you can absolutely destroy your credibility. You can destroy the trust that's between you and your client. And what I want you to think about to really help get this through about how important timing is, I want you to think about a time whenever you've had a problem, anything that you're dealing with. Let's say that you were fighting with your significant other, you were in an argument with your significant other, and they said something to you, and then you go and you want to go tell your friend because you want to process it, you want to understand it, and you go to your friends for a reason. You go to them because you want their feedback, you want their advice, but you want it after you've been heard. You want it after you've had an opportunity to explain exactly what it is that you're dealing with. So you go there, you're talking to your friends, and all of a sudden, that friend that you have, the second you say, hey, I got into an argument with my significant other, that friend immediately jumps out and they have a solution to the problem. Oh, this is what you need to do. You need to do this, and this, and then that'll fix your problem. Or you need to do this, and that, and that'll fix your problem. And immediately, what goes through your mind? Well, I can tell you what goes through my mind. Immediately, I start to think, well, this person's a know-it-all. This person thinks they have the solution for every problem. And most importantly, you're not even listening to me. And how often have you been talking to someone and they actually use those exact words? Are you even listening to me? Did you even hear what I just said? And if you're getting that, it's because you're proposing alternate solutions too soon. You're not letting the person talk, and you're not understanding and comprehending the actual objection. You're not understanding what they're dealing with or why it's important for them. And if you don't understand what they're dealing with and why it's important for them, you can't solve the objection. You may be able to say something that sounds nice, but to really overcome the objection, to beat the objection, you have to understand and fully comprehend what that person is saying. So I want to jump into here how to find that perfect timing. And you see, guys, it's not a guessing game. Finding the perfect timing is very much an art. There's no science to it. There's an art behind it. And you want to make sure that you're proposing that alternate solution at the right time so that the person who created that objective for you doesn't sit on the other side of the table and go, man, this person is a know it all. Man, this person, they think they understand. They have a lot of solutions, but they don't even get my problem. They don't understand what I'm dealing with. They don't understand why it's important for me. So let's think about the art of perfecting your timing. How to find that perfect time in which you can finally propose that alternate solution. And you see, in the next training, we're going to be talking about how to craft that alternate solution. So if you're worried about what should I say, that's a formula. There's a way to put that together without you having to do a whole lot of thinking. But knowing when to present it is absolutely more important. So we want to think about this and we want to know that it's a systematic approach. We don't want to rush it either. We want to go step by step and make sure that it's the right time. And here's one thing I can tell you. Seldomly, now I'm not saying always, but very seldom can you go too late. Can you propose the alternate solution too late? But it's very easy to propose it too early. So make sure you're following these steps. Make sure that you really understand these steps and you know what it is that you're trying to overcome. So here we go. The systematic process, and you want to think about this as a roadmap. You want to think about it as a point A to point B. If point B is yes or no, then you go to point C. If not, you go back to point A. It's very, very basic, very simple, systematic, so that you can overcome any objection. It doesn't matter if it's in your real estate business. It doesn't matter if it's in any other type of business. It doesn't matter if it's in your life or with your spouse. You have the potential, the ability to overcome any objection. So number one, we want to start off at step 4 of the 7 steps for overcoming objections. So we go back, we're really going to be looking right here at comprehending the objections. And if you notice that it says, continue to ask questions behind the true meaning until you're comfortable in knowing you understand the true objection. So what does that look like? Well, we're going to continue to ask questions that aid in our comprehension of the objection itself. And we want to get to the most basic, most easily comprehensible form of the objection. You see, a lot of times people tell you things, they give you objections, and they're surface level objections. It's not the true objection. So, for example, someone might say, oh, I'm not quite ready to make a decision right now. I'd really like to interview other agents. Well, the objection there isn't that they're not quite ready. The objection's not that they want to interview other agents. The true objection there is that they don't trust you. They don't feel like they have a sense of trust. And in asking the right questions, we can get to that. We can understand the most basic form of that objection. So what are some questions that you can ask? Well, they're very simple. And you want to really start to memorize these questions, because if you start asking these over and over and over, you'll start getting better results in overcoming objections. So the first one is very simple. Why is that important to you? So you want to interview other real estate agents. Well, why is that important to you? And now you start to get to the real reason why they want to interview other agents. They may just be the type of person that says, I don't make any decision without interviewing several people for the job? And then I would say, well, what would that change for you? How does interviewing other people make a difference for you? And that's another question that you can ask. And there's a lot of questions. These are the most basic, simple ones that you can memorize. But as you get better, you can come up with your own questions. No one is saying that these are the only questions you can ask or that you specifically have to ask them in this order. You can ask them in any order, really. The whole purpose here is to draw out the real objection, not that surface level objection, but to really understand what's stopping this person from moving forward with the sale that I proposed. So then we get to letter C. If you didn't get that, how would it affect you? So if you didn't get an opportunity to interview other real estate agents, what effect would that have on you? And then you listen for what they say. Would you consider that a necessity or a bonus? So is this something that you absolutely need? Or is that just something that you would like to have, but it's not necessary? So is it really a necessity for you to interview other agents? Or is that just something that you would like to do for your own peace of mind? And then how does that help you in your goal of buying a home, in your goal of whatever it is that they're trying to achieve? Now, for real estate, that would be in selling your home, buying your home, investing in real estate. But it can work for anything. Any objection that you get in life, you can ask that question. How does that help you in your goal of X or Y? Now, when you feel like you've asked a lot of questions and you really understand the objection, and the objection is clear and it's not a surface level objection, then you might be ready to move on. And that's the real magic word here, is that you might be ready to move on, because there's no guarantee that you're actually ready to move on to the next step. So this is the actual part of knowing the timing. As you're asking these questions, you have to ask yourself up here in your mind the following questions, and don't move on. Do not even start to propose an alternate solution unless you have a yes to every single one of these questions. The first question, do I really understand the objection? Is the objection clear for me? And do I understand the true objection, not the surface level objection that they gave me, but do I understand the root cause of that objection? Number two, do I understand why it matters or is important to them? Because if I can understand an objection, but I don't understand why it's important to you, then I can't really overcome it. I can't propose a solution in which that objection is solved because I don't know what that objection is solving. Then I want to ask myself the next question. Do I understand what pain point problem it is that it solves? So, do I know what pain point? Why is it that this person feels the need to interview agents? Perhaps in the past they've had a bad experience with real estate agents. Perhaps they're the type of person that's always been told you have to do at least 3 interviews. You have to interview at least a certain amount of people. But I need to understand the pain point, so I know why it matters to them and the pain point that it solves. And then last but not least, do you understand the intensity of the objection? And you want to think of intensity on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, this is really a non-issue. They're just throwing this objection out to throw an objection out. And 10 being, this is the absolute most critical issue. If this issue is not solved, there is absolutely no way that the sale can move forward. Now, only when you can say yes, 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 yes to all 4 of those are you ready to move on. And you're still not ready. The timing is still not right for you to propose that alternate solution. So from this point, if you say yes, 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 the next thing you want to do is you want to present this statement. And you want to really watch for their response to this statement, because it'll tell you if you're ready to propose that alternate solution. And the statement that you want to make, and this is why I say this is a formula, this is a process. There's no guessing game. You make this statement, and either your client agrees with it or they don't. And if they don't agree with it, you're going to go back around and you're going to start this process over. And if they do agree with it, then you know you are ready to go along and make an alternate solution. So if your answer is yes, you want to say to the client, so what you're telling me is that X, that's the objection, X thing is important to you because of Y. And you should already know that because that's letter B above. Why it matters to them, why it's important to them, and the pain point that it solves. And if X was fulfilled, if the objection was overcome, it would make Z difference. It would solve that pain point. It would make this difference for you. And when you make that statement, so what you're telling me is that X is important to you because of Y reason. And if X, the objection, was fulfilled, it would make Z difference. It would make this difference for you. And you want to watch them. You want to look at the client and you want to say, are they ready? Is their body language telling me that what I've said is yes? And I can tell you guys, when it's there, they'll be like, yes, that's correct. That is right. Yes. And sometimes they'll even say, you get it. You get it. If they tell you, you get it, then you've really gotten good with them because what you've done is you've built a level of trust based on, I understand you. I understand your objection. I understand why it's important for you. And I want to help you solve it. And that's when you know you are ready to present that alternate solution. If you don't get there, if the client says, no, that's not right, then don't present an alternate solution. You don't know the objection. You don't understand it well enough at that point. You need to go back. You need to ask more questions. You need to say, well, I apologize. I didn't understand. Can you help me explain again? Why is that objection important to you? You want to go back and start this process over until you get yes to number 3. Ask these following questions to yourself and then present that statement. So what you're telling me is that X is important to you because of Y, and if X was fulfilled for you, it would make Z difference. Whenever they agree to that, now the timing is right. Now you're ready to propose an alternate solution. So what I want you to do is I want you to go back to those 3 levels of active listening. The 3 levels of active listening that we spoke about previously. And what I want you to do is I really want you to practice the section on recreating for and generating from. Because those 2 sections are what allow you to make that statement. Because if you make that statement from a point of generation, a point of understanding their emotion, understanding why this objection is really important to them, you will land more often on the side of winning and overcoming the objection. Now, in the next training, we're going to talk about, now that you know the timing, you understand how to get there, we're going to talk about how to actually craft and present that alternate solution, how to propose an alternate solution that works not only for you, but for them as well. So I hope this information has been helpful. And if you have any questions, ask your regional success partner or reach out to me directly because I want to make sure that you understand this. Knowing this and understanding how to overcome any objection will lead you to more sales than you've ever dreamt about. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you have a good day.